Kaya Chakshurunmalatam Yena. Wait, Shri
Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya
Wisdom Stapitam
Yena
Stapit
Bhutale
Swayam Rupam Kada Mahyam. Wait, Babaji,
Padantikam. I'll share. You continue.
I forgot because like it's been a long time since I've done it.
Start again. Om Namo Bhagavate.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanantimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitamscha Jeevam Sadvaitam Sapadutam Pari Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakhan Vitamscha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopisa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radha Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hare Priya Vanchakalpatarobhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Thank you, Ashrit. Okay. Thank you for joining. It's 1 week break. Some are very happy for the break. Some are sad for the break. Who are all happy? Okay. It's okay. Happy. It's okay. You can take it two different ways because you have more time to revise and more time to learn. But just, of course, association, at least even the virtual association missing, it's a sad thing, is very good to know. All righty. Today we are going to do the revision of chapter 16 and start work on the chapter 17 today. And as I mentioned, 18 will be in 2 parts. After 17, 2 weeks we'll be doing it. Then followed by revision of all the Bhagavad Gita in 1 class, Kahoot quiz, and written test, and so on. So stay tuned. Start revising now itself from chapter 1. So test is very important. There will be a pass mark. There will be a distinction. There will be a first class. So better you prepare yourself for getting distinction. It's Krishna. You're showing your love for Krishna here. All must be only distinctions kids, right? Must take only distinction here. In fact, there is nothing less than 100. I'm expecting. Okay. Shall we go on chapter 16? Who has revised? It's a very small chapter, right? Manas raised the hand, of course. Okay. Small chapter. Okay. Can you tell me what is this chapter about, Manas?
Sure, Mataji. Divine and demoniac nature.
Divine and demoniac nature. Very good. And okay, let's start with the questions, some of the questions as a revision. And so that way we know what we have learned. So there are 3 topics in that, right? First one is divine and demoniac qualities, then demoniac nature, then how we escape from that, correct? So first one, divine and demoniac qualities. Can someone say how many qualities we discussed about it? There are many divine qualities we discussed, right? So there are 26 qualities we discussed. Can someone at least say 3 each? Each of them 3.
Mataji.
Okay, Avigna. 3 only.
Okay, Mataji. Fearlessness.
Which one? Sorry?
Abhayam, fearlessness.
Okay, very good.
Purification of one's existence.
What is that? Sattva? Samsuddhihi. Okay, the next one.
Dhanam, charity.
Charity, dhanam. Okay. Anyone else want to share? Another. So these three qualities she mentioned. Bhavya,
Yes, Mataji. Cleanliness,
cleanliness.
righteousness, and not expectation of honor from.
Very do not expect the honor. Very good. Shayanshi,
Mataji, it's self-control, study of Vedas, and forgiveness.
very good, very good. Excellent. Anyone else want to share? Three already shared. Okay, so there are 26, at least few you shared, which is good. Go through all the other more. There are austerities, and then renunciation is there, and then gentleness, and then your determination is there.
Tranquility. Tranquility.
So many are there. So these are divine qualities. What are the demoniac qualities? Who wanted to share? Manas. Hey, Avigyan is raising so much high for demoniac qualities, and he didn't raise for divine qualities.
Mataji, we raised for divine qualities, but then you never saw.
Oh, sorry. Okay, Manas.
The demoniac qualities are pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and
And
ignorance.
okay, so these are the qualities of demoniac people. And then the nature of demoniac qualities, there are multiple natures that we discussed about it. Avigyan, can you say some of the natures? How they
Mataji, illusion, ugra karma,
Mm-hmm.
then unclean, improper behavior, untruthful, and confused.
Okay, there's so many. Anyone else want to share some more?
Mataji, may I try?
Yes.
Illusion first. Second is affected by the non-permanent.
Mm-hmm.
And a third, excessive want to attain material wealth.
Okay.
There are many.
Sure. There are many, right? Anyone else want to share? The demoniac nature? Manas, you already shared. Avigyan, you shared already. Shayanshi?
Sorry, Mataji, I don't know this.
Oh, I saw you raise the hand. Maybe it's for the previous one. So they
Yeah.
always wanted to increase their wealth, no matter how it is. It's an illegal way, or they don't care, but they wanted to increase the wealth, and they don't care for the scriptures, right? They don't care for rules and regulations, and they're always hypocritic. They tell something, but actually they're thinking something about you in the mind. So a lot of qualities are there that, I mean, natures are there, and the desires are unlimited, and it's always growing. So these are demoniac qualities. In fact, we all have some portion of these qualities there and there. Although we are slowly, gradually trying ourselves in Krishna consciousness, getting rid of all these qualities, but we do possess these. And remember, when we talk about the three modes of nature, mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance, it is not that we always full of a mode of ignorance or mode of full of passion. The percentages increases and decreases based on the association, based on whom we are associating with, what we are eating, what we are doing the work, all related to this kind of association and this kind of work that we are doing. Our modes will change. Depend on the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance, our demoniac and divine qualities also will be changing. Right? But our aim is to reduce the demoniac qualities and increase the divine qualities, right? Now, we know the divine and demoniac qualities. We have just discussed high level. There is, so demoniac qualities people, what is the destination of where they will go? Yes, Avigna?
Mataji, they will to hell.
They will go into the hell. Very good. They'll go into the hell. And what is the punishment by Krishna for them?
Mataji, they will like incarnate in lower species of life.
He'll put into the repeated birth and death and most abominable existence, which is like very, very bad. I mean, lowest species he will be making us, and they will never attain Krishna. If we keep going into the demonic nature and qualities, we will never attain Krishna. So he will make sure that that is the Krishna's punishment for them. And but he's also telling there are 3 gates to hell. What are the 3 gates to hell? Wait.
Mataji can answer.
Shruta, yes.
3 gates of hell is lust, greed, and anger.
Very good. So if we have these 3, definitely we'll be going to the hell, and that lead to the degradation of what? Degradation of soul. And to upgrade the soul, to go to the supreme destination, what one must do? Escape from the 3 gates. We shouldn't be having this lust, anger, and greed. Also, we have to have a self-realization. We have to realize, and gradually we have to attain to the supreme destination. This is the, but he also says one who discards the scriptural injunction, who has a demoniac nature and quality, who discards the scriptural injunction, they will not attain 3 things it's mentioned in this chapter. What are the 3 things? It's very important. They say, I will not follow rules and regulation. I will do on my own will. And Manas is raising the hand, or Vigna is raising the hand. I'll give to Manas first. Yes.
They will attain perfection, happiness, not the supreme destination.
Very good. Perfection will never happen. And you think you're happy, but the happiness is definitely a very short term and not permanent. You think you're happy, illusion basically. And you will never attain supreme, which Krishna already has told that those people who are in demoniac nature will never attain me. Finally, the last verse Krishna mentions what? He says, those who doesn't follow scriptural injunction will not attain, they'll not attain me, they'll not attain perfection or happiness. But one who follows the rules and regulations, scriptural injunctions, they will gradually elevate to the supreme goal. This is the end of this chapter 16, right? The conclusion is that the rules and regulations. The rules and regulations, why Krishna has already told about Bhakti Yoga in the middle of this one, right? But again, he's coming to Jnana Yoga, he's telling about, because in this Kali Yuga, it's very, very difficult for us to directly jump into Bhakti Yoga. We are not that pure to direct, I mean, we say we love Krishna, but that love is how much purity is there. We do, because what kind of love? People say, I love Krishna and I will always think of Krishna, but you still do your material stuff. You still be doing all your, whatever you wanted to do. You have your own desire. You have your own, when it comes to happiness, you want to enjoy. You never think that it's Krishna has to enjoy all those things. So that way, he's telling, since it's Krishna is actually coming step by step. So in this one, he says, we have to know the knowledge. We have to understand the rules and regulation. Sadhana is important. Sadhana bhakti is very important, where you have to follow the rules and regulations. That way you can elevate yourself and to go to the level of Krishna prema. So that's the step-by-step process. So we are ending the chapter 16 already last week. Now we will start with chapter 17. And do you know what chapter 17 is about? Anyone?
Mataji, it's the divine and demonic qualities.
We're coming back to 16. We are going to 17 already.
Chapter what, Mataji?
17. Chapter 16 is divine and demonic. We just finished revising everything on that one. We're going to chapter 17, which Nishita Mataji is going to take now.
The division something.
Of what? Divisions of?
Faith?
Faith, yes.
Okay. So I'll hand over to Nishita Mataji. And over to you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Also, all glories to Vishnupriya Mataji. Mataji has been out and about since Mangal Aarti. She's done a cake order since morning. Then she's done an entire catering order since morning, and she still managed to dial in from the temple to the class. So all glories to Mataji. All right.
You are there in Mangal Aarti also, and rush back home to take the class. So it's all how much we could do is all Krishna's mercy. Okay, let's start.
All right. So the chapter, we are on 17th chapter now, which is the second last chapter. So it's a big deal. All right. I'm seeing very few of you today. It looks like we've lost a bunch of kids. Is it because of the holidays? People are
Break.
traveling.
One break we give.
Yeah, one break and they take another break themselves. No need to give any more break. Okay, well, there's an exam. Mataji shared the schedule last night. So there's an exam coming very soon in about a month's time, right? About a month and a half's time. So you all better start preparing already. All right. So the 17th chapter is called The Divisions of Faith. What does faith mean? Has anyone heard that word? Anyone who's like, I haven't heard the word faith? Everyone's heard. What does faith mean? Avigan, do you want to answer? Or is your hand just raised from before?
Mataji, I think that means like what's going to happen.
Is that what faith? That's fate.
Oh,
F-A-T-E.
faith.
What does
Faith.
faith mean?
Faith means the ability to trust someone.
Okay, so when you have some faith in something.
Yeah.
All right. The ability to trust that if I do X, a certain expected thing is going to happen. Fair. So what are some things that you have faith in on a day-to-day basis?
Mataji, I'm not sure.
Okay, who wants to try answering? Samarth?
What was the question again?
Samarth's hand is anyway raised. The question is, what does faith mean, and what are some things that you have faith in?
Mataji thinks that I have faith in the books. Like suppose Chaitanya Charitamrita means like if you don't have faith, you won't believe that anyone actually wrote it. Somebody just typed in everything and they just made it. But then, yeah, if you have faith, then so I have faith in the books.
So you have faith in all the books?
Yes,
All books out there?
not all the books, only the Krishna books. And no, like suppose it's a Superman book or something, it's not real.
Hmm.
But if it's like Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and all these Chaitanya Charitamrita, they all, yeah, faith.
Okay. So if a random person on the street was to write a book on Bhagavad Gita, would you have faith in that?
No.
Why not? That's a Bhagavad Gita. You just said you have faith in Bhagavad Gita.
So, Mataji, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, suppose Bhagavatam, okay? So, suppose somebody wants to write complete, what do you call that?
Commentary?
Commentary on Bhagavatam.
Yes.
And not believe them because I don't remember the verse. I had it in my note.
It's okay. You can just explain it to me in your own words.
So, yeah. So, if they cannot write the books because they have no authorization of the parampara. Oh, yeah. Evam parampara pratam 4.2. So, there's the disciplic
Okay.
section.
Okay, and only then will you have faith. Okay. Is there anything else okay, Shruta, anything else that you want to share that what is it that you have faith in?
Krishna.
Okay.
I have full faith in Krishna.
And why is that?
And because he's the Supreme Lord,
How do
and
you know?
he is the only one who is praised in the Vedas, in the Puranas, in the
So because of the
Itihasas.
scriptures. So because of the scriptures, you have faith in Krishna.
Because of the scriptures, because of acharyas who have experienced Krishna himself, and like how Samad Prabhuji said he has faith in the books. I also have faith in the Shastras, which always say that Krishna's to Bhagavan Swayam, for example, and all the experiences of different acharyas, like and I also have faith in Prabhupada's books because it's translated and received in disciplinic succession is bona fide. It's
Hmm.
not like it's not like any kind of fake translation that's just made out of any kind of mind, but it's actually passed down in disciplinic succession. So it's not fabricated, but it's 100% as it is. So I have faith in my spiritual master and also the master of my spiritual master, who is Krishna.
Okay. All of you are very advanced already. So that's why you're placing your faith in scriptures and Krishna. But even something as simple as the chair that I'm sitting on, there's a lot of faith I have in that chair that the chair is not just going to fall apart while I'm sitting on it. Right? There's faith that I'm putting in the building that I'm sitting in right now, that the ceiling is not just going to fall on my head. Right? So you're placing your faith in every small thing. There's faith that I have in this pen that the ink is not just going to drop out of it and spill on my clothes. Right? So every single thing that we are doing, every time you take a flight, you go to the airport, you have faith that the pilot will take you to the right destination, that the flight will actually go to the destination that you want. Right? So every single thing that you're putting your faith in. So remember, what was the last section in the 16th chapter? What did we just revise? What did we last learn in 16th chapter? Forgotten. 2 minutes memory erased already. Over to 17th chapter.
It's okay. Whatever you know, you tell. Just now we revised, right? Then we will come. You're
What was
on
the last bit?
You're talking.
Come on, anyone remember what was the last bit we just covered? We just revised it.
In chapter, we covered the demonic qualities, divine qualities, then we gets to hell and then escape.
How
And
do
then
we escape?
at the end, what we did. Okay, just tell whatever you know. Speak out.
Mataji, do you remember Krishna is forgetfulness? I am experiencing Krishna.
Nice excuse. Huh? Not accepted. Sorry.
Okay, so towards the end of the 16th chapter, we studied about the importance of scriptures and how divine people act according to the injunctions in our scriptures, right? Whereas demoniac people ignore or go against the Vedic injunctions, right? So there's a few interesting things that Arjuna has heard from Krishna in the past 16 chapters, where he has just heard from Krishna that people who do not follow the scriptural injunctions, who do not place their faith in the scriptures, are demoniac. But in the beginning, in the 4th chapter, Krishna had also told Arjuna that by cultivation of knowledge, as long as you're faithful, by cultivation of knowledge, you can eventually come to a place where you'll get to know about the Supreme. Right? So Arjun asks him a very intelligent question. Arjun says, okay, well, you've told me that these people are demoniac who are not faithful to the scriptures. You've told me that they're demoniac. But what about people who are faithful to, say, something else other than scriptures? Will they also grow in knowledge and eventually come to the supreme destination? Okay, and that is what this entire chapter revolves around. And that's when Krishna says that, okay, if they do not have faith in the scriptures or they do not have faith in the supreme, then based on the modes of material nature that they're interacting with, that is the faith that they have. Right? So a lot of times people would be like, oh, so you're all students of Krishna consciousness. You all chant, you all read Prabhupada's books. So you already have faith in Krishna, right? Even when I asked all of you, what do you have faith in? I heard Mataji, faith in Prabhupada's books, faith in Krishna, faith in our scriptures. All of that is idempotent. All of that is similar in that all of that is a representation of the Supreme Lord. So you already have faith in the Supreme. But for those people who do not have faith in the Supreme Lord, who do not have faith in the scriptures, even they have faith in a lot of things, right? So even if you were to ask a person on the street to be like, what do you have faith in? He'd be like, well, I have faith that if I eat food, I'm going to, like, that'll nourish my body. I have faith that if I'm thirsty, I can drink water and that'll pacify my thirst, right? So every person has faith in something, and based on that faith, their activities are determined, right? So if I have faith that making a lot of money will make me very, very happy, my activities will be a result of that faith, right? If I have faith that worshipping Lord Ganesha will make me very successful and prosperous, my activity will represent that, right? So based on the faith that one has, those are the activities they engage in. So this entire chapter, the divisions of faith, Krishna is talking about how, based on the different activities you are doing, you have different kinds of faith, be it in the mode of goodness, passion, or ignorance. All right? And then towards the end, he talks about how even if you have faith, even if you're doing activities in any of these modes, it's still useless if it is not directed towards the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. Okay? So basically, in this chapter, in the divisions of faith, Arjun is asking him a question and asking him, okay, what are the, for people who are not following the scriptures, you just said that people who are not following the scriptures are demoniac. So people who are not following the scriptures, what kind of faith do they have then? Do they also have a chance to grow and eventually attain the Supreme? And that's when Krishna answers that based on the mode of material nature that they're associating with, that is what shows what their faith is. That is what determines the activities they'll do as well. And towards the end, he says, but all of these activities are useless and temporary, because the only thing that will give you supreme or ultimate benefit or permanent benefit is service to the Supreme Lord, right? Which is beyond these material modes and which is in line with the scriptural injunctions. So which is why the faith that we should absolutely be having is faith in scriptures and faith in Krishna. So that's a high level outline about what we're going to cover today. All of this comes down to faith, and faith is very, very important because faith is the sum and substance of a spiritual life, right? So a lot of times people question and say, oh, how is it I can trust? Like, sure, you read Prabhupada's books and you're a cult. That's why you understand, you listen to all of these things. How can I have faith? How can I just trust? So Prabhupada always uses this analogy. Prabhupada says, if you want to understand, if you want to know who your father is, you have to trust what your mother is saying, right? Can I know my father by experimentation, that I'm going to go and figure out by myself who my father is? No, I have to trust what my mother is saying, who my father is, right? Similarly, Prabhupada explains how Krishna is the Supreme Father and the scriptures is the mother. So we have to trust the mother in understanding what the identity of our father is. And this is very important when people say, oh, I don't have blind faith. You have blind faith. I don't have blind faith. Well, everyone has blind faith. If you take, just like what I was saying, I have faith that this chair is not going to just fall while I'm sitting on it. I have faith that if I keep my foot on the ground is not going to crumple under my foot, and I'll actually be able to walk. So we place faith in every single thing. And how is this faith solidified? By experience, right? If you see, in India, there's oftentimes, or if you go out on the street and it's been raining and the mud is very soft, how do you know that you can actually walk on it? You're gonna slowly place your foot a little bit to be like, how soft is it? Can I still walk or not, right? You're gonna slowly place your foot to see, can I still walk or not? If you think that the ground is hard enough, that's when you will have confidence, that's when you'll keep walking, right? So our faith is built and it's solidified by experience, right? And that's why Prabhupada says, okay, you read my books, you follow what I'm saying, you follow the injunctions, you follow the rules and regulations, and you'll get a taste for spiritual happiness, right? It's not, I'm sure for a lot of you, I often think about it for myself. 10 years ago, if you would have told me that I would be spending 2.5 hours every single day chanting a mantra, or if I would be spending so much time, I was just talking to one of my friends the other day when I was going through old photos. And if you were to see me from 2014 to 2024, unrecognizable person, very different person, right? So if you would have told me 10 years ago that I'd be spending so much time doing chanting, I would have given up a lot of the foods that I was eating, a lot of the things that I was engaging in, would not believe it at all. And giving 2 hours every single day for chanting it's not trivial, right? I'm sure a lot of you heard from your family members also that, Pagal ho gaye ho kya? What is this? What are you doing? Are you crazy? You're going to spend 2 hours doing this? How do you have so much time in your life, right? The only reason we can do it sustainably is why? Who will tell me? Who will tell me why is it? How is it that devotees, how is it people can do this their entire lives? Yes, Bhavya.
There is both faith and love, I guess. Prema is the first. Yes. I don't know.
Prema is not there yet. Prema is the goal. See, Prema is the goal. The goal is that eventually we'll come to a place where we can actually rekindle that love for Krishna. Prema is the goal. Once there's prema, that's when we can go back to Krishna already. There's faith, yes.
So
But
yes, then faith.
it's similar. There's faith, yes. I think there's definitely faith. But the faith is solidified. Why? Why do you have faith? Why do you know this process is
Experience.
working?
With
And what are you
experience,
experiencing? And what are you experiencing?
we do experience the connection with the Lord, I guess, when we serve, or maybe
What do you mean by that connection with the Lord? What are you experiencing?
uh,
Who will tell me? Vishnupriya Mataji sent something in the chat. 23:14. In the meantime, I want to hear your answers. Yes, Mataji.
No, that is a step-by-step process. Prema, we will not get it at the beginning, right? Adav Shraddha, I just wanted.
Yes, yes. Prema is the eventual goal. And once you have prema, that's when you can go back to Krishna. That's the prerequisite for going back to Krishna. So the prerequisite, and this is important, the prerequisite for going back to Krishna is not how many times have you chanted 16 rounds a day. No. The prerequisite to going back to Krishna is not how many hours of service you've done. No. The prerequisite to going back to Krishna is Krishna prema. That is the goal of everything we are doing. So, sometimes we get so busy in the activity, we forget why is it we are doing the activity. So the reason we are doing this activity is not to get appreciation, not to get validation from others, not to become very puffed up. No. The goal of every single spiritual activity we are doing is to rekindle Krishna prema, is to rekindle our love for Krishna. Okay? All right. So who will tell me, how is it that you can still, day in and out, how is it you can still go and do 16 rounds? Chetna, can you go on mute, please? Who will tell me? Okay, tell me another. Yes, Samad?
What is the
Okay.
question?
I'll change the question a little bit. How is it you feel after you finish your rounds for the day? Or while you're chanting? How is it actually, I know most of you are not chanting attentively. So you just tell me, how is it you feel after you finish your rounds? Yes, Samprati.
Ma'am, sorry, Mataji, go ahead. Actually, that the thing can you hear me, Mataji?
Yes. It's a little quiet, but I can hear you, yes.
Ma'am, sorry.
It's okay.
Mataji, you had previously asked what keeps the devotees so invested in chanting. So while the goal is Krishna Prem, it is also I think firstly is faith, which we discussed. It is also the enthusiasm, how much enthusiastic, how much interest and sincere you are in doing so. If
Yes.
anyone is sincere for something, or if I have interest in a particular thing, and if I am very sincere for it, in one way or another, I will bring out time for it. Just like I think in one quote of our Sri Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada, he had said that one devotee was asking Srila Prabhupada ji that what if a person says that I don't have enough time to chant 16 rounds. So Srila Prabhupada says if you are really busy, then you should also not have time to eat, not to have time to drink water also. Then if you are really busy, you should also not have time to do that. So just for the bodily needs, you are ignoring your spiritual needs. You are not nourishing your soul.
He also said, don't sleep, chant, finish chanting.
Yes, Mataji. So I
Very
think
nice,
the
Sampriti.
enthusiasm is very important. And
Absolutely.
like you said that, and like you asked that, how does one feel when they chant the rounds? So like in my experience, as much the rounds which I chant, I think I am a beginner devotee, so I was able to chant 4 rounds only. But in a way, doing so, I felt a bit satisfied. Okay, I at least did something. So I think, yeah, that might be the experience which one feels when you complete a particular number of rounds. At least you feel some sort of satisfaction that you gave efforts for Krishna.
Yes, very nice. And to your point, utsah or enthusiasm is a key element of progressing in our devotional life. In fact, it's like, if you're making a cake, the basic ingredient is a flour, right? Cannot make a cake without flour. Most cakes cannot make without flour. Cannot progress in spiritual life without enthusiasm, without utsah. Vishnupriya Mataji is a very good example of this, enthusiasm in everything. But we cannot progress in spiritual life without enthusiasm. And a lot of you know the verse as well, right? Utsaha nishchayat dhairyat tat tat karma pravartanat. Sangatyagat sato vritte shadbir bhakti prasidhyati. Nectar of instruction. Utsahan. Yeah, utsahan nishchayat dhairyat. Enthusiasm, determination, and patience. Very important. Very good point, Sampriti. Yes. So actually, Mataji already shared the answer in the chat thread, in the verse. The beginning of spiritual life is Shraddha, which is faith. Adav Shraddha. Right? Once we have faith, we associate with devotees, we read Srila Prabhupada's books, we try to follow the instructions, we try to follow regulative principles, we try to chant. What happens then is that, so a lot of you might have heard that phrase that the proof is in the pudding. When you put it into practice, that's when you experience it. And what is it you experience? You experience that you experience modes of pure goodness, right? You experience feeling better, you experience more satisfaction, you experience more happiness, you experience more peace, you experience, in association of devotees, you experience a lot more enthusiasm, right? So that is what transforms your Shraddha to Nishtha. Okay, Shraddha is faith, Nishtha is firm faith. And with that comes Ruchi and Asakti. Ruchi is taste and Asakti is attachment. So a lot of so the reason devotees can go in and out and with Srila Prabhupada gave us the instruction of 16 rounds. Before that, they were chanting 64 rounds. Haridas Thakur would chant how many rounds in a day? How many times he would chant in a day? Come on. 196 rounds in a day. 196. Right? So the only reason they can do it is because of the taste, is because of the ruchi. Obviously, Haridas Thakur is at a different level altogether. He actually has Krishna Prema. But the reason devotees can even do 16 rounds, 64 rounds is because of the taste, the attachment. And that is because of Nishtha, right? The firm faith. So what happens is you have preliminary faith in something. Once you experience it, that's when you have firm faith, right? So it's the spiritual taste that people get when they chant. It's the spiritual taste. I'll be very honest, the first time I ever attended a Hare Krishna Kirtan, this was 2017, 8, 9, 10, 7 years ago. The first time I ever attended a Kirtan. I was like, why are they saying the same thing over and over? Why are they saying the same thing over and over? Why are they not changing the song? Why are they not saying something else? I still remember I was so impatient those 2 hours. I was like, why are they not saying something else? Same thing over and over. They're repeating. I want to hear some other bhajans. This was me 7 years ago. And now you wake me up in the middle of the night, you make me listen to Kirtan and I will not say anything. Whether what part of the body is broken, fractured, does not matter. If it's Kirtan, then that's 100% focus. And that is not something that someone can force, right? Over time, you experience it. Because I enjoy Kirtan so much now. So that is the taste that we get when we do chanting. That is the taste. Just say, oftentimes Vishnupriya Mataji says that doesn't matter how tired she is. Like, if I'm in the kitchen, then I'll forget how sick I am. Right? Because she has taste in that service. A lot of times people feel that way when they're reading books. Some people feel that way when they're out distributing books. That is the taste you have in different services. But that is what promotes your enthusiasm. That is what firms your faith. That is what makes you even more determined. Right? So we all place faith in everything in our lives. The faith is solidified by experience. And that is why when we read Prabhupada's books, we have to put the instructions into practice to really experience the benefits of what he's saying. All right, so if we just read the books as a scholarly study but do not apply the knowledge, then it's fruitless. All right, so we always have to apply the knowledge. All right, so now with that, we'll start our 17th chapter. In fact, the verse that Mataji shared in the comment thread, Madhya 23, 14 and 15 is very important. This is by Rupa Goswami, which is telling you the stages of first faith, then sadhu sangha, then anarth nivritti. It's telling you the stages of what it means to progress in your devotional life, and eventually it's bhakti and it's bhava and prema. All right, let me pull up my notes. Okay, let me start sharing my screen. This is not a very long chapter either, actually. So we'll hopefully finish in time. All right. So the name of the chapter is Divisions of Faith, and we've spent quite some time talking about faith already. So there's 3 main sections in this chapter, and I've walked you all through the outline already. So in the beginning, Arjuna asks him the question around, hey, what about people who do not place their faith in scriptures but are still faithful towards something else? What about them? And Krishna tells him that based on the modes of material nature that they're engaging with, that is what determines what their faith is. Then he talks about how different activities you engage in, be it the foods you're eating, the austerity you're doing, the sacrifices you're doing, the charity you are doing. That is what shows what mode of nature that you're engaging with, right? And that is what will promote your faith. And we've actually talked about this a little bit in the previous chapters also, in the 14th chapter when Mataji covered the modes of material nature. And then towards the end, he talks about how all said and done, all of these activities are useless. And the only activities that matter are the ones that are done with complete faith in Krishna for his pleasure. All right, so let's begin the first section. 3 modes determine one's faith. Who wants to read this verse? Yes, Avigna, go ahead.
Translation. Arjuna inquired, O Krishna, what is the situation of those who do not follow the principles of scripture but worship according to their own imagination? Are they in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance? And are they worship?
So very reasonable question, right? Where Krishna just told him as to how you have to base your faith in the scriptures. And anyone who doesn't do that is a demon. So Arjuna is asking him, okay, well, there's so many people who place their faith in something other than scriptures. So I'm sure all of us have also seen there's some people who, a lot of people who consider some man to be the Supreme Lord. A lot of people who consider some god or the other than Krishna to be the Supreme. So what about these people? Are these people in mode of goodness, passion, or ignorance? Or like what happens to them? What is their destination? A very reasonable question that Arjuna is asking. In fact, if you look at 2 different verses that we've seen before, the last section of the 16th chapter, where Krishna is saying that one should therefore understand that what is duty and what is not by the regulations of scriptures, and only by knowing such rules can they be gradually elevated. But then in the 4th chapter, when we talk about transcendental knowledge, he's also saying, a faithful man who is dedicated to transcendental knowledge and who subdues his senses is eligible to achieve such knowledge, and having achieved it, he attains the supreme spiritual peace. So he also talks about how gradually, if you're faithful, you can gradually build your knowledge to understand who the Supreme Lord is. So Arjuna is asking, okay, what about people who are faithful, but who are faithful to something that's other than the scriptures? What about them? So Krishna answers. Who wants to read this?
Mataji, can I read?
Avigna, you already read. Shruta, go ahead.
Okay. 3 modes determine one's fate. Bhagavad Gita 17.2. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha त्रिविध भवति श्रद्धा देहिनां सा स्वभावजा सात्विकी राजसी चैव तामसी चेति तां शृणु. Natural instincts based on material modes. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, according to the modes of nature acquired by the embodied soul, one's faith can be of 3 kinds: in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance. Now hear about this.
So Krishna is saying, yes, based on the modes of nature that you're engaging with, based on your activities or your worship, or the foods you're eating, your faith can be many different types. And here's the breakdown. So he's now going to cover the breakdown. So as an example, when we talk about worshipping, In the mode of goodness, you're going to be worshipping the demigods. In the mode of passion, you're going to be worshipping the demons. And in the mode of ignorance, you're going to be worshipping the ghosts. Right? So, based on the activities you're doing, that determines what kind of faith you have. And vice versa. Based on the modes that you're influenced by, that determines where is it that you have your faith as well. So, a question for you all. These modes of goodness, passion, ignorance, are they fixed for life?
No, they fluctuate on the basis of how we try to do it, or maybe how we interact with the nature.
Okay. So, how is it that we can change the influence of these modes?
First, we acknowledge, then we understand, and then we try to put our knowledge to make
Okay, so we
it
can change the
better.
influence. Yes, by
Yeah.
acquiring knowledge and doing what? What do you do once you have knowledge?
To put the knowledge into use and then see if we are changing somehow.
Changing your activities, right?
Yeah, like the day I get to know that we have to take sattvic food, so I try making sattvic food and eating, and then seeing that if it is actually working.
Exactly.
Doing it.
So you do it by changing your activities. So you can change. So yes, these state modes are not constant the entire life. Based on the activities that you're doing, the modes are going to be changing, right? How is it you can transcend these modes altogether? If you're completely in the mode of ignorance, how is it you can transcend? What is the chance of transcending these modes?
Transcending all the modes, or
Yes.
by practicing devotional service, by
Yes.
being Krishna conscious.
But how does someone go from being in a mode of ignorance to practicing Krishna consciousness all of a sudden?
To eventually going to the mode of being sattvic, and then uh, going into Krishna, then practicing Krishna consciousness.
So you're saying that it's like a ladder. So they'll eventually go to goodness and then they can practice Krishna consciousness.
If they definitely want from there, yes, it will take some time, but they can do it. Like if a person is tamasic, but then after some time, if they have the realization, it may take them some time, but then eventually it may happen that they try to take the sattvic lifestyle. And
But how? But how would they even if I'm completely in ignorance, how is it that I would even want to practice Krishna consciousness or learn about Krishna consciousness?
so if you get a person who actually preaches it to you like the way
Yes.
it should be.
Yes. So the only way you can actually transcend these modes is by getting in touch with a pure devotee. Right? So even if you're in the mode of ignorance, if by Krishna and the pure, like Guru Prasade Kripa Paya Bhakti Lata Bija, if by pure devotee and Krishna's mercy you come in touch with a pure devotee, that's when you can immediately transcend the material modes. Remember we talked about how there's a difference between an elevator and a staircase? Normally everything is staircase, but what does a pure devotee do? He gives us the elevator card, the elevator access card. And because of him, we can immediately transcend the material modes. And even if we are completely in Rajasic, Tamasic life, we can immediately get in the mode of pure goodness because of his mercy. Right? So the prerequisite to transcending these modes is association of a pure devotee. Right? Everyone with me? Okay. All right. So we've talked about these three kinds of worship, right? So there's worship in modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Where do the impersonalists fit? So people who are Mayavadis, people who think about the impersonal form of the Lord. Which type of worship is that?
Mataji, I think it's like somewhere between goodness and passion, because the Mayavadi is like one of my family member is an Advaitavadi, like a Mayavadi. So they don't initially just worship the impersonal form. They will also do like a five god worship, which is what they consider as like forms of the impersonal. So I
Yeah.
think they fall somewhere like in goodness, where they worship like five forms of god that they consider, which is Vishnu, Shiva, Ganesha, Surya, and um I don't know the last one, because one of my uncle is like that. So I think goodness, or
Yes, you're right.
goodness and passion.
So it's goodness actually. So the impersonals actually belong in the mode of goodness, not pure goodness, just goodness. Okay, it's as good as like demigod worship. What about people who worship men? Like who would be like, oh, this person is like a Narayan, so I'm going to worship this man. What about them? Which mood do they fall in?
Passion.
It's passion and ignorance, yes. It's complete ignorance as well, right? Because usually the way to understand passion is that people who are in modes of passion are usually looking for some material benefits, right? So you're looking for even the worship that you're doing to demons is because I can acquire some power, so I can enjoy myself more, or I can go to heavenly planets and stuff. So usually it's in modes of ignorance. Yes, Shruta.
So I have a question. So like the people who say like they worship Sai Baba and also are they like so they are like passion and ignorance, like those who worship Sai Baba
It's
and
ignorance, really.
all
Yeah, it's more
ignorance.
ignorance more
Okay.
than anything. Yes, Sai Baba, especially because I mean the detour, but there's bigger questions around whether that he's even legitimate or not, right? So people who are I mean, think of it this way: people who are worshipping entities which are more powerful than them for some material benefits, right, are in the mode of passion. For Sai Baba, I think there's a bigger question around like, even is this person even a legitimate representative of the Lord in any way or not? Let alone being able to grant some material benedictions. Yes, Samarth?
Mataji, I was asking for the next question. Can I answer?
Okay. Let me see if I have a next question first.
Mataji, I just
Next
have one
question
more
is easy.
question. I'm so sorry. I'm so
Yes.
sorry to cut you. I just have one more question. So, like, what if not for any kind of material benediction, but like, I don't know, like some kind of material benediction, but also some kind of little bit of good faith. So, what if we also trust and have faith in a devotee of God?
So the demigods are devotees of God as well, right? So if you look at even the difference between goodness and passion worship, you in both cases you could be worshiping demigods. In the mode of passion, you're worshiping them or you're doing sacrifices out of a desire to get some benefits. In the mode of goodness, you're doing it out of it being a duty, not because you're like, oh, this is the benefit I'm going to get out of it, but because it's a matter of duty. So a lot of it depends a lot on. So for the devotee of the Lord, even the demigods are devotees of the Lord, right? 330 million devotees of the Supreme Lord. So it really depends as to what is the purpose as to why we are worshipping them, right? I mean, for example, Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu did a lot of austerity, right? Did a lot of austerity and was worshipping who?
Brahma.
Yes. So that's a demigod. Brahmaji is a devotee of the Lord. Is he in the mode of goodness? Is Hiranyakashipu
No,
in the mode of goodness?
no, but then why he used to worship was for his own benefit.
Exactly, because he was seeking seeking some benediction, so he could become the most powerful person in the universe, right?
Mataji, I have another small question.
Yes.
Hiranyakashipu, he knows that Brahma is like not the most. He knows also. He also. Then why he not worship Vishnu? That his brother. Was it because of that Vishnu killed Hiranyaksha?
Vishnu is his arch nemesis. The entire reason he's worshipping Brahma is so he can go after his arch enemy, right?
But then
So
that's
Mataji,
that he is worshipping Brahma and Brahma is worshipping Vishnu. So then why he not directly worship Vishnu?
Because he wants to become more powerful than Vishnu. That's why what is the benediction he's asking Brahma? The benediction he's basically asking is that he's saying, I want immortality. Right? And why does he want immortality? Because see, that's why even when you study Prahlad Maharaj's pastimes, right? When Prahlad Maharaj says, Om Namo, what does he say, Samarth?
No, Bhagavate Narsimhaya.
Yes, Om Namo Bhagavate Narsimhaya. Or Om Namo Narayanaya Namaha, right? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. What does Hiranyakashipu says? How can you chant the name of our enemy? That is what he says. Right? He doesn't say, "Oh, okay, yeah, I know Vishnu. I know he's more powerful." He says, "No, I am the most powerful. How can you chant the name of our enemy?" So how can, even though he knows the reason he's worshipping to Brahma is because he wants to become as powerful as the Supreme Lord, as powerful as Vishnu, right? So, and some way or the other, it's also because he does not have faith in the Supreme Lord or have faith in the power of the Supreme Lord, right? If I know anyway that Vishnu is the most powerful and there's nothing I can do that let me become as powerful as Vishnu, then why will I waste so much time? Right? Some way or the other, he does not have complete faith in the Supreme in Vishnu either. He thinks he can become as powerful as Vishnu. Vishnu is any other person, so he can become as powerful. So some way or the other, he's not faithful. And that's why he's placing his faith in Brahma, so he can get enough power, he can get enough benedictions to be able to go after Vishnu. Samar, does that make sense?
Yes, Mataji, I got it.
Any questions? I see a bunch of hands raised. Are those questions or are those answers?
Mataji, I have one question.
Yes.
The people, we just talked about the fact that the people who desire things out of, uh, greed, that they want something, so that is
Yes.
in passion. Now
Yes.
imagine a person worshipping Krishna for only material benefits,
Yes.
but also not acquiring knowledge to have Shraddha or, the
Yes.
stages.
Yes.
So what category to be for?
So actually, that person is still better than the one who's doing demigod worship. Remember, in demigod worship, we studied that Krishna says even those who are worshipping demigods are actually worshipping me, but are doing so
Yeah.
in a wrong way, avidhi purvakam. Right? What happens is Krishna says, see, even if you want material benedictions and you're coming to me, at least you're coming to me, right? At least you're getting in touch with me. At least you have some faith in me already that I am the one who's going to be giving you these benedictions. So even though you might be in a mode of passion or ignorance right now, over time that will gradually purify you. And let's be honest, right? All of us, it's not like just because we're chanting or following some rules, we're not pure devotees of the Lord. We all still have a lot of material desires. Even in the context of our service, a lot of us have material desires. I want to be the best kirtan singer, I want to be the best cook, or I want to be the best this or that. They're still material desires, right? And the hope is that as we keep doing service, as we keep praying to Krishna, those material desires of like sense gratification and pride and ego and lust and anger will gradually clear up, right? So Krishna says, even if you have material benedictions, that's fine. At least you come to me. Over time, I will purify you. And that is exactly what, if you look at this verse, right? A faithful man who is dedicated to transcendental knowledge um, will quickly attain the supreme spiritual peace. At least he's still faithful to Krishna. He knows that finally benedictions are going to come from Krishna only.
Okay.
That is his mercy. He's saying, sure, in the beginning you might have a lot of desires. It's like, one good way to understand this is that if like as a father, he's a father at the end of the day, and all the relationships, all the qualities, all the interactions we see in this world, it's a perverted mirror image of what's happening in Golok Vrindavan, right? So it's very much like, okay, if the child has a lot of so if the father is saying, you know what, you come and you help handle the family business for me, and the child is like, no, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do all of these different things, the child can either go and like run off and figure out all of these things independently. The father would be like, okay, fine, I know you have all these desires, why don't you come and I'll help you enable these desires. Hopefully eventually you'll understand that all this running around is not worth it, and you'll come and take care of the family, or you'll come and take care of the family business, right? So in some sense you give them a concession and say, okay, I know I don't agree with you just yet, but I let you do what you want to do under my guidance. So with that, at least eventually you will come and see the right path. Instead of letting you go completely, at least eventually I'll come and get you to the right path because you're under my shelter still. Versus the
So
person going
Mataji,
completely astray. Yes.
Mataji, is that how like from Vaikuntha we came off to Bhuloka, like to the material universe? Like that's how we left the spiritual universe, the spiritual locus, and we came off to the material
So
world.
we talked about this a little bit in the previous classes. The reason we left Golok Vrindavan, and by the way, Prabhupada, I'm happy to talk about this. Prabhupada also was like, why do you want to spend time talking about this? Just focus on what you want to do to go back now. Why do you care so much about how you came or why you came? Just focus on going back. But the idea is that, see, in the spiritual world, everything centers around Krishna. Everything is for Krishna's pleasure. Everything, right? So every single activity, everything we do, he's the only enjoyer and he's the supreme enjoyer. So somewhere or the other, we as living entities who have free will, somewhere or the other, we became envious of Krishna. Where we were like, why does he get to enjoy? I also want to enjoy. Why does Krishna get all the sweets, all the nice desserts and sweets? I also want them. Like, I want to be able to enjoy. I want others to serve me. And it's because of that desire that Krishna was like, okay, well, I know you're not going to be happy with that. But if you really want, sure, here's like a little playground for you in the material world where you can go and fulfill all these desires you have. And जैसे हिंदी में, for those of you who understand Hindi, you know how parents are like, ठीक है, जब करो, जो मन मर्जी है करो, जब मन भर जाए तो वापस आ जाना, right? And so Krishna is like, okay, जो करना है करो, like do whatever you want to do, whatever desires you have, you eventually, I know you're not going to be happy because you belong here with me, your true happiness is with me, But fine, if you really want to experience it, you go ahead. You go enjoy this prison. When you get tired of it, when you think you actually love me and you want to spend time with me again, take it, remember me, please come back here. So that's why we came from Golok Vrindavan or Vaikuntha to this material world, because we were all envious of Krishna. We were all like, we want to enjoy, we want to enjoy. That's why the only thing, the only dirt, the obstacle, the only thing that's the wall between us and Krishna is what? Our desire to enjoy. That is the desire. That is the reason why we came here, and that is the reason why we are still here. And as soon as we develop Krishna Prem, what does it mean to have Krishna Prem? What does it mean to love someone? To love someone means that their pleasure is more important than my pleasure. Right? That I'm willing to sacrifice everything for them. That's what love means. Right? I know we've talked about this many times in class. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, we study about the difference between love and lust. Where love is about what is it I can do for your pleasure, and lust is what is it I can do for my pleasure. Prema or love means doing everything for Krishna's pleasure. So Krishna Prema is when we achieve that destination where we are like everything that is for his pleasure, nothing at all is for my senses or for my gratification or for my ego. That is when we are eligible to go back to Vaikuntha. Okay? All right, we've spent a lot of time on this. So the question I have is, given all of this, what is the best form of worship?
Worshipping of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna.
Yes, but I want you all to raise hands so everyone gets a chance, please. But yes, that's an easy question for you all. Worshipping Krishna. And what material mode is that in? What mode is that in? Worshipping Krishna. Sanvi. Sanvi, what mode is?
It is mode of goodness.
No, it's not mode of goodness. Samarth.
Mataji Shuddha Sattva Guna.
Very good. Pure goodness. It's beyond mode of goodness. It's beyond the material mode. So it's pure goodness. And why? What is the difference? Why is it the best form of worship? Why? What is the problem with all these other ones?
Mataji, can I say?
Yes.
Mataji, sir, the mode of goodness is considered the three modes of material nature. It's
Yes.
not so that means goodness also is material. So suppose you are in the mode of ignorance. If you want to go to goodness, you have to like level up. You cannot stay like in the worst mode of ignorance. If you want to go, at least you have to go to goodness. Then if you are able to do in goodness, then you will slowly go to the mode of pure goodness.
No, but you still haven't answered my question. Why is it that, like, what's the good deal about pure goodness? Why is it that worshipping Krishna is the best form of worship?
Mataji, so you showed that the mode of ignorance, they worship ghosts. The mode of passion, they worship the Chinese kings and all. Not Chinese king, just king. And the mode of goodness, they worship demigods. So demigod worship, it's not in the mode of pure goodness, because
but what is wrong with it? Because if I worship demigods, I'm getting so much opulence, then like what is the problem? I want that. What is wrong with that?
If you get a more of the material things, so Krishna, he is like, he wants you to be safe, he doesn't want you to get
No, I understand what you're saying, Samant, but that is not the accurate exact answer. I want an exact answer.
Mataji, all the other forms are indirect forms. Worshipping Krishna is a direct form of worship.
No, but with the indirect forms, I'm getting like Chalku. I mean, I'm worshipping. I don't know, worshipping Shiva. Let me look at so many examples that we have in the scriptures, and you get such amazing benedictions. What's the problem with that? What is wrong with that?
But that's getting you into more bondage, right? More birth and death, and then.
What do you mean more bondage?
I mean, you are getting more entangled into the fruitive activities, and that is leading to birth and death.
Okay, so all of you are good at understanding the scriptures. I want you all to have such a strong foothold on these topics that you can explain things to a 5-year-old. Okay? So I understand what you're all saying. The reason worshipping, and it's as simple as this, the reason worshipping Krishna is the best form of worship is because all other worships only grant temporary results. That is the reason worshipping Krishna is a. So I understand what you're all saying, Mataji. It's the bondage, it's the fruitive activities, it's the transcending the modes. No, the basic difference is, well, if I were to give you some benefits, would you want something that's temporary or permanent? Permanent, right? That's why, as simple as that. That's why worshipping Krishna is the only ultimate kind of worship and the best kind of worship, because that is the only thing that will give you permanent results. Everything else will give you temporary results. Sure, it'll send you to material planets. It'll give you a lot of opulence, but it might be limited to 1,000,000 years, 1,000,000,000 years, 1,000,000,000 years, and that's it. And what happens after that? What happens after that? But worshipping Krishna will send you to Vaikuntha, will send you to Golok Vrindavan for eternity. So which deal do you want? Krishna, right? As simple as that. Right? So I want you all to, I understand your all understanding is correct. But in knowledge, it's about understanding, applying, and then being able to communicate it very clearly to others. Right? And I want all of you to become very solid preachers. Because you're all, I'm sure, most of you are coming from families where they're not devotees around you. Right? So these are questions you're going to get. And if you explain to them things like material bondage, fruitive activities, transcending the modes, they'll be like, okay, get it. Right? So you want to be able to clearly say in their language, well, the difference is, sure, you can worship Shiva all you want, but one, Krishna says himself that is avidhi purvakam. You're worshipping Krishna only in the wrong way. Second, the benefits also that you're getting are only temporary, right? So might as well go to the root of the tree. Might as well get something permanent. Might as well get it in a purer form. That's why you should worship Krishna.
Mataji, I have a question one more time. I was just thinking about the demigods.
Hmm.
The demigods are also devotees of Krishna.
Yes.
Then, Mataji, I was reading the Madhvacharya book. Then the Madhvacharya story book. And inside that book, it said that Madhvacharya, he said that the demigods are better than. It's one. I think it's one. I don't remember what it's called. From Manu Samhita. No, not from Manu Samhita. From something else. He says that the demigod are also devotees of Krishna.
Yes.
So the demigod's worship is actually better than the devotees worship. So how do I understand that, Mataji?
No, actually, that is not accurate. Find me the exact reference, because that is not what he's saying. He does not use the exact word devotees. He uses the word of like yogis, right? Where what he says is these are people
Yes.
who are right, Samant?
Yes, Mataji. I forgot to use it. Prabhu
Yes.
said that the yogis, they are always having Krishna in the heart. Like, then later Rupa Goswami will say that the demigods like Indra, they always are what do you say? They are always thinking about Krishna. Yogis are thinking about
So,
Krishna.
Samrit, I know what you're asking. This was what Tattva Prabhu was quoting in the class on Friday,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And he was telling us as to how sometimes, even when there's apparent contradictions between different acharyas' commentaries, the successor acharyas can then help resolve those to help us see them in the light of the in the correct light. Can they help put that in perspective so we understand how they're not actually contradictory statements. And then, but the takeaway was still that the devotees of the Lord, worshipping them, serving them, pleasing them is way better, is way more important than the demigods. Okay. All right, everyone with me now. Clear how you can answer to someone as well. If someone asks why is it I should worship Krishna, yeah, it's good for you to understand material modes, fruitive activities, transcendental, all of that. As something as simple as temporary versus permanent, which deal do you want? Which is more beneficial? Permanent benefit, right? All right. So yes, worshipping Vasudeva is in mode of pure goodness. Sattva Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabdatam. And in pure goodness, worship Vasudeva. Pure goodness is beyond the three modes of material nature. It is transcendental to those material modes. All right? All right. So, Krishna also tells us that one can make out the mode of faith by observing the activities of eating, sacrifice, austerity, and charity. right? So he tells us how, similar to what we said about divine and demoniac people, we can know whether someone's wise or foolish. The wise people know well how to discriminate based on different modes, based on these activities. What's an example? Well, the wise people know what kind of foods they should be eating and should not be eating, right? Whereas the foolish people, they think everything's the same, everything's fine, yaar, kya farak padta hai? And you should just eat whatever it is that you want to eat, sleep, and what's the thing? Charvaka's
Eat,
philosophy,
sleep, and make it
and be merry.
understand.
Eat, sleep, and be merry, because tomorrow you shall die. Right?
Okay.
So, yeah, eat, sleep, and be merry, because tomorrow you shall die. And the foolish people, they think everything's the same. They don't discriminate, right? So a lot of times, in fact, we all come across such people who are in life who are like, it's fine. All paths, all activities lead to the same goal. It's fine. Don't have to discriminate. Don't put so many restrictions. Don't eat this, don't eat that. Just should enjoy, just eat everything. I'm sure we've all come across someone or the other who said this, right? And Krishna himself is saying that based on the ability to discriminate for the activities that you're engaging in, that determines what mode you're engaging in, that determines the worship, the faith that you have. All right, and obviously that determines whether you're a demon or a devotee. All right, so now we're actually going to learn about foods, sacrifice, austerity, and charity in 3 modes, right? So we're going to talk about what are the different foods, different kinds of sacrifices, different activities that people in these 3 modes do. So let's first start with talking about foods. It is said that the easiest way to discover a person's situation, so to figure out which mode, so all of us are under the influence of these material modes, right, at all times. So all of us are under some combination of goodness, passion, and ignorance at any time. So it is said that the best way and the easiest way to discover a person's situation under these material modes is by observing the food that they eat. All right. So food is such a key element in affecting our consciousness. Imagine all of the cells in our body are made from getting energy, are made from the food that we're intaking, right? There's really like 3 main things we're putting in: food, air, and liquids, right? The water. So everything, like in fact, there's a beautiful verse which talks about how the ahar, which is the food, is what determines the consciousness, is what determines our intelligence, is what determines how long we can live, is what determines whether we can remember and understand the Shastras or not. All right, so food is like the key element in determining one's consciousness. So you can very easily understand what mode someone is in by looking at the foods that they partake in. So what are the qualities of different kinds of foods? So actually, let's look at these images first. Uh-oh. 1 second. Yes. Sorry. Zoom out. Yes. Okay, so let's look at these images. On the left-hand side, you're seeing this like saintly person eating a lot of fruits and vegetables, milk, grains, sugar. Then you're seeing someone here who's partaking in a lot of spicy food and eating a lot as well. And then here, someone who's eating eggs and meat and fish. Right? Similarly here, mode of goodness is sweet, juicy, pure fruits and vegetables. Mode of passion is a lot of voracious eating in restaurants, spicy foods. And mode of ignorance is partaking in meats and alcohol. So Krishna tells us how food in the mode of goodness is going to be wholesome, juicy, pleasing. So these are fresh fruits and vegetables. These are your dal, this is milk, this is sugar. This is food that makes you happy to eat it. It's pleasing. Foods in the mode of passion are bitter, sour, something that's very, very spicy. So very spicy food is also like in the mode of passion. That's where people can get agitated easily, people who eat a lot of spicy food. Too hot, too pungent, strong smelling foods in the mode of passion. And again, to make it easier in your head to understand, goodness is something that's calm, collected, good qualities. Passion is something that's like agitated, frantic, right? Lots of movements. Ignorance is something that's lazy, indolent, lazy, sleepy, very lethargic. So people in the mode of ignorance usually eat tasteless, decomposed, untouchable food, very old food. Right? So what are some examples? Goodness is mostly fruits and vegetables, your dals, milk, grains. Passion is spicy, spicy, spicy food. And ignorance is alcohols in meats, or super old food as well. So what do you think? What do you think the results of partaking in all of these foods is going to be? How is it you're going to feel? What's going to happen to your body if you eat foods in the mode of goodness?
Good.
Mataji, can I answer?
I want to give someone else a chance. No one else is raising hands today. It's a very quiet class today. Mitra. Mitra, what happens if you eat the foods in the mode of goodness?
You'll feel happy.
You feel happy. What happens to your body? You're right, you feel happy. What else? Do you get diseases? No diseases. You get stronger, right? And you get a long life because your body is disease free. So it's a long life as well.
Also, it gives you a lot of energy.
It gives energy, absolutely. Strength, energy. What happens if you eat foods in the mode of passion?
Mataji, your means you feel spicy and you don't feel nice.
Don't feel good, right?
And-
You can get diseases.
Yeah.
You'll be upset. You'll be distressed. You'll be unhappy.
Yeah, Mataji, and also you will feel so bad and you would get very short span of lifetime.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Because your body will get disease. You're not going to live very long. Okay, what happens if you eat foods in the mode of ignorance?
Will feel lazy, want to sleep more.
Lazy. Want to sleep? Absolutely. Lethargy. What else?
And it also makes you like a little bit not well because
A little
foods
bit?
in moderation, like it makes you more sick like often
Disease?
because
Yes, you'll definitely be sick.
because modes in foods that are in modes of passion, they can cause like acidity because they're too spicy, they're too pungent, they're too spicy. So they can cause acidity and that can cause us to be very lethargic, like Bhavya Mataji said.
Yes. Do you all remember COVID?
Yes,
Right? People haven't forgotten that yet. It was caused by what?
Mataji, because in China, some people are coughing, and that's why the coughing they cough from somewhere and it spread to whole world.
But how did they catch it?
Mataji, so
Mataji,
maybe they got sick lah. Maybe
Maybe
they
they I don't want speculation. Maybe la. Don't want any maybe la.
Actually, I read like an article. So apparently there was this one Chinese guy. He ate bat meat, and then he got the
Yes.
virus, and then he spread it
Yes.
to all of the people. So it is because of
Exactly.
that one bat that he ate.
Yes, exactly. Right? So it was a virus that was being spread amongst animals, and because of that meat that someone in China ate, the entire world went into a shutdown for a few years. I mean, even now there's COVID cases popping up, right? Just because someone ate meat in China,
Why
right?
do
So
they want to do this? I mean, there
yeah,
is
well,
so much.
and that's why Prabhupada says the only way for peace is to spread Krishna consciousness everywhere.
Yes.
Right? So see, that is what the mode of ignorance can do to you. Can shut down the entire world for many many years and can cause such loss of life. Like human life is so rare and so precious. And imagine the amount of human life loss it caused. Right? Because of why? Because of the foods and the mode of ignorance. So this is what the results of like the different partaking in different kinds of foods is. All right. So all said and done, what is the best food that one should be having? And I want a verse. Okay, so if I don't want an answer, I want an answer with the reference of a verse from the Bhagavad Gita, which you've all studied. What is the food? What is the most purifying food that you could be eating? Chetna.
Mataji, is the verse Rajas Tamascha Satyena?
Tell me the translation of the verse.
Mataji, I only remember the first two lines of the verse and not the translation.
So why do you? Okay, so what makes you think the? So what is the answer first, and then tell me the verse. What is the answer? What is the most purifying food?
Mataji, goodness, the sattvic food is Mataji, you said it.
Nope, that's incorrect.
Krishna
Um,
Prasad.
Prasad,
and what is
yes,
the verse? Krishna Prasadam. Yes, Krishna Prasadam is the most purifying food. And
Yes.
why is it the most purifying food? What do you mean by purifying?
It has no sinful reactions. It transcends the three mode of material nature.
Yes, there's no reactions. There's no reaction to the actions of eating. There's no sinful reactions. And
Mataji, I have a small question on.
wait. 1 second. Let me finish this, and I'll come to you, Samir. Yes, and so why is that the only purifying food? What if I eat very sattvic fruits and vegetables? So if I buy a nice mango, or if I like have a nice mango on a tree outside, and if I eat that, what is wrong with that? That sounds like very juicy and purifying as well. What is wrong with that?
Can I say
Mataji, can I?
Mitra, your hand is raised, Mitra. Don't know. Okay, Samarth.
Mataji, so if you see the more in the prasadam in the food in Satvaguna, it's actually that
Prasadam is not in Sattvaguna.
everything has life. So you see the carrot actually have a life, and
Okay.
the banana, everything have a life.
Hmm.
But when we pluck out a carrot, it's like we are killing the carrot. But then the Prabhu said we cannot live without any violence. We cannot survive. You know why? Because eating is one thing, drinking the milk is also one thing. Then Prabhu say, but by pleasing Krishna with vegetables, then Krishna will be happy, and then even the carrot we are eating also gets liberated. So that offer is offered to Krishna, right? It's offered to Krishna, then Krishna will give it
Okay. Carrot does not have a life. The plant has a life.
yes.
Right?
Carrot.
So, but you're
And
not killing the plant. You're just plucking a carrot from it. You're not killing the plant. The plant will have another carrot.
Mataji, then suppose you're eating spinach. Spinach is
So now your analogy changes to only the plants. We have to pluck out the entire plant, is it?
I had no other.
Mataji, can I try?
Yes,
Like,
Bhavya.
can I give an analogy? I can see there is an analogy to this. Like,
Yes. Okay.
if
1 second. I want to hear the verse reference, or at least what the verse says.
Mataji.
Who is saying so many Matajis? Yes, Mitra.
The answer is Bhagavad Gita 3.30.
Which one again?
The answer is from Bhagavad Gita 3.30.
Very good, Mitra. Yes. What does that verse say?
The devotees of the Lord are released from all kinds of sins because they eat food which is offered first for sacrifice. Others who prepare food for personal sense enjoyment.
Verily eat only sin. Yes, exactly. That is what I was looking for. 313. Yagya Shishtashana Santo. The any food that you're consuming without offering it to Krishna is as good as consuming sin. Okay, that is the verse. That is the exact answer to my question. So all of you are very good at throwing. I'll tell you what all of you do when I ask questions. Has anyone ever played darts? You know where you've played darts, right? You throw you to see where
yes,
it's going to hit. Every time I ask a question, I think you all throw darts to be like, here's all the stuff we know. We are going to see if the dart sticks or not. If it sticks, great. If it doesn't, then it's okay. No, there should be bullseye every time, right? Okay, yes, Bhavya. Now we'll come back to what you were saying.
Mataji, I just had a simple analogy. I don't know
Hmm.
where I read or something.
Hmm.
It's that when you are the master, you have to
Hmm.
think about a lot, the company losses. If I am the master of a company, I have to think a lot about the losses, the gains, how I'll profit, I'll make more money. But if I'm
Hmm.
working as a servant in the company, does not matter that if I work a person who works like 8 hours there and a person who works like doing overtime and doing more and more, still they'll get the same like salary. So,
Hmm.
so why not?
Sanvi, can you go on mute?
So when we are under a master, all the other losses, just imagine a company gets into the loss. So
Yeah.
your salary won't get reduced. So if we let Krishna be the master and let him take the goods and the bads of the food, then we are not getting affected by that. So
Yes. So you're right, Bhavya. The analogy Prabhupada would often use is if you're a soldier for a country and you're, killing people while you're fighting for
yes,
the country under the orders of the government, then you don't get any sins for that. But if you come back to your village and you're like, well, I can just kill whoever I want, and you go and shoot a bunch of people, doesn't work that way, right? So the idea is that even though the carrot might not have a life, you're still causing hurt to the plant, and there might be a zillion different microorganisms there. Sampriti, do you want to answer? I see you nodding. I'm sorry. I know you have your hand raised for so long. I didn't give you a chance. Please go ahead.
Mataji, I also didn't know the words actually. I just wanted to say the answer to your question, that why we should eat Krishna Prasadam and not just the food like in the goodness. That is also good for our own body, which the sattvic food we eat.
Yes.
But actually like we had learned in the chapter 16, what we learned is that we should do bhakti under the rules and regulations, and it is in the rules and regulations that whatever we are doing, we must offer it to Krishna. So if we are cooking, we must offer it to Krishna also, and then we should take prasad also.
Yes.
If we see in a way, Krishna is the creator of everything, and if we are eating a particular food, it is also created by Krishna only. So it is in a way ingratitude also, that you are
Wonderful.
not showing gratitude towards the creator. I am eating for myself, but I am not giving my mother who has made all these food. So that is also ingratitude. So we must
Absolutely.
eat eat the food which is offered to Krishna.
Very nice, Sampriti. Very nicely explained. Yes, it is so we get rid of the sinful reactions. And second, also because he's the proprietor, it belongs to him anyway. So if someone were to come into my home, open my fridge, eat a bunch of my food, I'll be like, sorry, what is wrong with you? Who are you? There's a thief in my house. That's who we are. We are all thieves in Krishna's house. So Krishna is like, at least, yeah, at least have the itna the dignity have, na, at least you're offering it to me before you're eating it. So yes,
Mataji, I
absolutely.
just have to say, can I say something?
We are running low on time, so really quickly.
Like how Sampriti Didi said that you should offer food. Like sometimes, like when I told one of my classmates that, like I don't like to eat from school because I prefer to I want to try offering food to Krishna and all that. And then they're like, when Krishna only gives food, why do you want to offer it back to them? That is such a silly thing. So it's like the kind of analogy is like your father gives you. It's like your father gives you food, but then it's like your mother gives you food, like she cooks the food and she gives it to you, but then you
Yeah.
selfishly just eat it yourself and you don't give it to her first. So like she may be hungry or something, so you first give it to her and then you eat it. So it's like that kind of a feeling. Because my
Yeah.
friends, some of them laughed at me saying that why do you want to give the food back which you have gotten it from God itself.
Prabhupada used a very good analogy where he said that if a father, so sometimes little kids would be like, Papa, I want a lollipop, or I want a candy, or I want this sweet. And then imagine if you like buy that little kid some candy. But then before eating that candy, the kid first offers it to you. Do you want to have it? How happy would that make you? That would just make your heart swell, right? That is exactly how Krishna feels. That's exactly how Krishna feels when we offer it to him. Right? The fact that that's exactly to Sampriti's point, that's a way of showing gratitude, that thank you, and I love you enough and I'm grateful to you enough that you want to have it first and I'd rather have the remnants. And again, see, it all comes back to I'm not here to enjoy my senses. I'm here for Krishna to enjoy his senses, and my senses will be enjoyed if I can just partake in the remnants of whatever he's had. All right, so we're running low on time. So next section, sacrifices. Similar to food, there's sacrifices in different modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. So we are going to go and look at what the different sacrifices are. So sacrifices in the mode of goodness are, as per the scriptures, they are done dutifully, not necessarily because you're seeking a reward, but out of matter of duty. Sacrifices in the mode of passion are for some material benefit to the other. So we just talked about them in the context of worship. And sacrifices in ignorance are unfaithfully. There are people who are like, oh, it's okay. I'll do something and whatever money I get, I'd rather spend it on sinful activities. Right? So it does not involve prasadam, does not involve charity, does not involve chanting. So they're unfaithfully done. So examples of these, I mean, if you're going to the temple regularly every week, that's going to be out of duty and not because you want some economic benefit. That's going to be in the mode of goodness. The things that like Ravan and Hiranyakashipu did were in the mode of passion because they were all seeking some material benedictions. And ignorance would be, as I said, like worshipping demigods to make money and then spend it on intoxication or like spend it on sinful activities, where it's not even no faith, it's not even material benedictions. It's really because you want to have you want to engage in sinful activities. All right. Next up, austerity. So, can someone tell me what austerity means? Krishnavi, do you know? Krishnavi? Do you want to try answering? What does austerity mean? Who is that? Radhika? Is it Radhika? No, Rishika. Okay, who will tell me what austerity means?
Yeah.
Huh?
Tapasya.
Tapasya, very good. What does it mean, tapasya? What does tapasya mean?
I won't tell.
Who's answering? I don't even know who's answering. Who can tell me what does austerity mean?
But the austerity means like you are not. You are
Oh, Mama. Did you just throw it away? Krishnavi, did he throw you away? Did Samartana throw you away? Okay. I could see, I have that on video now.
Wait.
I saw how you threw it away. Okay, what does austerity mean? Who can explain it to me?
So austerity means like suppose like like a Dhruv Maharaj. He's not. He was not very much inclined when he was at the age of 5. He was not in material. So renunciation, technically renunciation.
No, austerity is not renunciation. I understand what you're saying. I know you understand it. I want you to be able to explain it. What does austerity mean? Who can explain? Manas. Manas, what does austerity mean?
Austerity is
You've all heard the word austerity, right?
Is it trying to please the supreme senses rather than pleasing your own senses?
That's not what austerity means, no? Manas? Who can tell me? Come on, come on, come on. This is not an English class. Who can tell me what austerity means? Kushal. Kushal is there or not there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay. Kushal, what does austerity mean?
Austerity means like when the person in Krishna conscious observes like the perfect Krishna like rules, like chanting and like devotional service.
Explain it to me without the context of Krishna consciousness.
Austerity
What does
means
austerity mean in general?
austerity is like the severeness of like praying and like the severity of like doing something. Severity.
For what? Severity of doing what? Why?
Like
what
praying,
and why?
Like praying.
So, okay, I think all of you understand, but I wanted to be able to explain. Yes, Sampriti, and then I'll try.
Mataji, I think austerity, which the child said, the tapasya, so it means getting control over your senses, because for the renunciations, which mostly the tapasvis who are doing the tapasya and austerity, they have always restricted amount of food, then yoga practice and all those meditation. It is mostly to gain a control over your senses to reach the ultimate supreme Lord or to attain moksha.
Sure, I understand what you're saying, Sampriti. In the context of yoga or Krishna consciousness, I see. Austerity in basic language, all it means is voluntarily taking an inconveniences in the hope of a longer term benefit. So, Kushal, I know you go to the gym a lot. Working out is austerity, right?
Yeah, a bit, I guess.
It is austerity. It is austerity. Sure, it's not austerity in the mode of pure goodness. It is austerity because you're sacrificing your
Yes.
short-term pleasure for some long-term benefit,
Yes.
right? For a lot of you who study hard in school, that's austerity, right? So many times you're like, oh, I'm not going to go play with my friends, or I'm not going to go out because I need to study or I need to work hard on my project. That's austerity, right? Because you're sacrificing your short-term sensory pleasure for a long-term benefit, right? You're taking in some inconveniences in the short term in the hope of a longer term benefit, right? That is what austerity means. All right, everyone with me? You should be very clear on these fundamentals. What does austerity mean? I'm voluntarily taking in some inconvenience. That's why fasting is an austerity, right? Or giving up certain foods is an austerity because I'm voluntarily taking up inconveniences for my senses, for some pursuit or the other, right? So Krishna explains how austerity can be of three types. So you can do voluntary inconvenience in three ways. Remember we talked about in Karma Yoga chapter, we talked about how action can be of three types as well. Kaya, Vacha, Manasa. Does anyone remember? This was ages ago.
Yes,
Kaya,
yes,
Vacha,
yes,
Manasa. I'm sure a lot of you hopefully remember this image.
yes.
Action can be of three kinds, right? It's not just what I do with my body, it's also what I do with my mind, the thoughts that I have. It's also what I speak. Similarly, austerity can be three kinds as well. It can be of three types. Body, so it's my conduct, it's my speech, so it's the words, and it's the mind, the thoughts, right? Controlling all of them is austerity. So let's learn about what is the different kinds of austerity for body, mind, and speech. Can someone read this? What is the austerity for body? Who wants to read? Manas, go ahead.
Worshipping the Supreme,
Hmm.
cleanliness, simplicity, celibacy, non-violence.
Austerity for the mind, Manasa. Go ahead, Manas.
Simplicity, satisfaction, gravity, self-control, avoiding sense gratification.
Yes. And austerity for the speech.
Speaking truthful words, pleasing, beneficial, non-agitating, reciting Vedic literatures.
Yes. So these are all ways in which we can use our body, mind, or speech to work towards our purification. Okay? So austerity controlling our body, mind, and speech for the eventual pleasure of attaining the Supreme. Right? So Mataji also covered this in the previous chapter of what the speech should be like. All right. So austerity also can be in three different modes: goodness, passion, or ignorance. So what we just covered is like ideal austerity, right? So this is pure goodness, worshipping the Supreme with your body, using all of your senses in His service, reciting the Vedic literatures, or qualities, building saintly qualities, right? Simplicity, satisfaction, self-control. But austerity can also be in three different modes. So what you saw here was an image of who is this person? Who is this person? Huh?
Can Avigna say?
Huh?
Can Avigna say?
Yes, Avigna can say.
Mataji, I think this is Dhruv Maharaj.
Yes, Dhruv Maharaj. So the austerity that Dhruv Maharaj was doing, what mode was that in? So these are the different modes. What mode was that in?
Mataji, it was in goodness, sattva,
Why?
because he was doing austerities to please the supreme personality of Godhead. Although it was, he was trying to please the supreme personality of Godhead. Although he was doing it for some kind of benediction, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, he was. So was it goodness or passion?
Goodness, or somewhere like for goodness and passion, like in the middle, I think.
Who will tell me? Who thinks it's goodness? Who all think it's goodness? Who all think it's ignorance? Who all think it's passion?
No, not ignorance. I'm sorry. I raised it as a
Passion.
question.
And who all think it's pure goodness?
I have both one reason for passion and one reason for goodness. He was
Hmm.
wanting material benedictions, that was passion, but he was
Hmm.
also praying it to the Supreme Lord. So
Hmm.
goodness.
Hmm.
Now,
So it was actually in the mode of passion. So see, in goodness, it clearly says not for material rewards. As soon as you have material rewards, it's in the mode of passion, right? Now, he started with praying in the mode of passion. But what happens when the Supreme Lord appears in front of him?
then he realizes he does not even want the 3 worlds in exchange for this
Yeah, what is the
wonderful
verse he
thing that he has
recites?
done.
Does anyone know the verse that he recites?
Mataji, yeah, can I tell?
Okay, apart from Shruta, who knows the verse that he says? Only Shruta? Yeah, Shruta. All of you've learned that verse also. It's a beautiful verse. Yeah, Shruta.
I think this is in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 22.42. I don't remember the number. Sthanabhilasi tapasi sthitoham tvam praptavan deva munindra goyam kacham vichinvanapi divyaratnam swamin kritartosmi varam nayache. So he means that Sthanabhilasi tapasi sthitoham, like he was doing it for his benediction, and then he got someone who like Munis, Indra. He's like hidden to all of them, and he did not. And all of them will like it's very difficult for even Munis and Indra to get. And he was just wanting for like kacham, like pieces of glasses, kacham vichinvan apidivyaratnam, and he got the Lord who is like a gem, who is nothing in front of the glass. And then he, in the end, says that he does not want any material benediction after seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I
Very
think he
good,
saw
Shruta.
Prishni.
Sorry?
I think he saw Lord Prishni, like the Lord in the
Yes.
form of Prishni.
Yes, very good, Shruta. Very, very good job. And woo to all of you all. Because we've all learned this verse and we've talked about this multiple times. So very, very good, Shruta. Very nice. A very nice recitation of the verse as well. So yes, Dhruv Maharaj was first, and since it's Manthya 2242, Dhruv Maharaj was first praying to the Supreme Lord for material benediction because he wanted a kingdom that was even larger than that of Brahma, right? But then as soon as the Lord appears in front of him, he's like, I was aspiring for a broken piece of glass, and what I've gotten is the most transcendental jewel. Kacham Vichinman Api Divya Ratna. I've gotten the Divya Ratna. I've gotten the most transcendental jewel, and what I was aspiring for was a broken piece of glass. I have no desire whatsoever anymore for these benedictions. No desire whatsoever. So that is in pure mode of pure goodness, right? Up until that, the austerity was in mode of passion. And okay, so remember we talked about how you can transcend the material modes only by coming in contact with the pure devotee of the Lord. So who is that pure devotee of the Lord that Dhruv Maharaj came in contact with?
May I say?
Someone who hasn't answered yet. Someone who hasn't
Okay.
answered. Priyangi. Priyangi, who is that pure devotee that Dhruv Maharaj came in contact with?
Nrsimhadev.
No, Dhruv Maharaj.
Oh. Mm.
Avigyan.
Yes, Mataji.
Who is Dhruv Maharaj's spiritual master?
Huh?
Avigyan, stop answering him. Stop answering. Let him answer. Avigyan, who is Dhruv
Yes.
Maharaj's spiritual master?
Who is Guru Maharaj's spiritual master?
Yes.
Krishna?
Narad Muni.
Mataji,
Okay?
I don't understand the question.
Arey, who is Dhruv Maharaj's guru?
Okay, sorry.
Now you'll understand the question. Now that I've given the answer. Narad Muni, right? So again, what we were studying, you can only transcend the material modes. Yes, Samart?
Isn't even Dhruv Maharaj's mother his guru?
Yes, the Dhruv Maharaj's mother is also the guru. Yes.
But Mataji, the difference is Dhruv Maharaj's mother is his Shiksha Guru and
Agreed.
Narad Muni is his Diksha Guru.
Yes, exactly. We also studied this in the class. I remember we had this in a slide. We studied this also in the class. Okay, all right. So now we've covered austerity in different modes as well. So obviously the austerity that Hiranyakashipu and Ravan were doing was in the mode of ignorance because it was to torture others, to harm others. Both in a combination of mode of passion and ignorance. So now, similar to what we've covered, food, sacrifices, and austerity, there's also charity, which is in different modes. Now that's quite surprising, right? Because charity in itself seems like a very good virtue to have, right? That you're just, what does charity mean? Can someone tell me what is charity? What is charity?
Um,
Can someone okay, I need to start taking English classes for you all now because I need to make sure that all of you understand and can explain basic English words that are used in common parlance. What does charity mean? Lokesh.
Mhm.
Lokesh, what does charity
Charity.
mean?
Charity is like funding someone.
Fair.
Funding.
Yeah. And charity can be of different kinds. It does not just have to be funds, right? So is it fair to say that charity is like serving someone?
Yeah, they can donate money. They can donate time.
Fair, fair. So that is all charity. So charity in itself seems like a pretty good virtue to have, right? So how is it that charity itself can be in modes of goodness, ignorance, or passion?
By the intention we have.
I am let Lokesh answer.
By the
Okay,
intention and who they're giving the charity to.
Fair enough. Very, very good. So Krishna explains very nicely that based on the time, the place, the person, the intention that we're giving charity to, it can be in very different modes. So for charity to truly benefit people, right? The intention, the for charity to truly benefit people, all of these things need to line up. All of these things need to be right. So charity in the mode of goodness is done out of duty, without expectation of getting something in return, and it has to have the proper time, place, and the proper person. Charity in the mode of passion is often done like, oh, because someone asked me to, I don't want to, but I'm feeling forced to. I'm doing it unwillingly, I'm doing it begrudgingly, or I'm doing it because I'm seeking some honor or some respect out of it. And then charity in the mode of ignorance is given to an is given to an undeserving person at an impure place at an improper time with disregard without an actual intention of serving someone. Right? So it can be in different modes. So can someone give me an example of what charity in the mode of ignorance might be? What's an example of charity in the mode of ignorance? Yes, Priyangi?
No, Mataji, I just raised for the other question.
Hmm. Can anyone try? What is an example of charity in the mode of ignorance? Okay, what is it? What is charity in the mode of goodness? Example. Yes, Avigna.
Mataji, like giving it to the poor people, to people who actually need it.
Mm-hmm. Fair. But is that enough for it to qualify as charity in the mode of goodness? Just because someone who needs it, I'm giving it to them.
No,
What
Mataji.
if? Okay, what if there's someone who's very poor on the street? I give them some money in charity, but then they go and end up. So they're very hungry, right? So they're quite starved. So I end up giving them money to go and buy something to eat, and then they go and end up meat eating. What is that? What happens then? Something worth thinking about, right? Because oftentimes when we give people charity, say if we see a beggar on the street and stuff, sometimes we give them money, right? But what if they go and then what if they take that money and then go ahead and indulge in sinful activities? What happens? Like, do we get those sinful reactions? Do we get any benefit of having given money in charity? Do we not? What happens? How does the law of karma work?
They take the money, buy a knife to kill someone.
What happens? You'll be like, Mataji, but I had a good intention. I gave it thinking good only. I gave it to that person. So not my problem now how they're spending the money. Right? Worth thinking about? Yes, Bhavya.
Mataji, charity in the mode of goodness can be giving charity to a Brahman, like qualified Brahman.
To a Brahmin, yes. To ideally, charity in the mode of goodness should be given to devotees of the Lord.
Yes, yes.
Right? But tell me that example, right? Like, what if Mataji's point? What if I give someone money, someone who's deserving, and they go and buy a knife and to kill someone? Like,
Mataji,
what
it is
is
also, we just mentioned right now, it is also about giving it to the right person. So it's that we don't know if it will be used in a good
so?
cause
Do
or
I get sinful reactions for that if they then go
yes,
ahead and buy a knife? Yes, exactly.
yes.
So you do get sinful reactions if the person that you're giving money to for charity uses that money for sinful activities because you're
Very,
enabling that person to do sins, right?
very
So you
cautiously we should give charity, right?
yeah, and that's why the only deserving people of charity are ones who are furthering the mission of the Supreme Lord, right? So charity done for the cause of the Supreme Lord. So yes, we have to be very careful. I mean, Prabhupada would often use this example where the place in New York where he was starting this movement, Bowery Street, there'll be so many homeless people, drugged up, intoxicated people. And he would be like, well, if you give them money, they're just going to go and spend all that money on alcohol. So you're not getting any benefit of giving that money in charity. If anything, you're getting sinful reactions for trying to do a good thing. So you should be very careful as to who you give the money to for charity to. Right? So something for us to keep in mind, especially as these are very practical things. So there's a lot of new age spiritual motivational speakers, right? Who are like, oh, let me make Bhagavad Gita practical for you. No, Krishna has already given things very practically, right? What we say in Man Manam Bhav Mad Bhakto, practical. He's telling us practical. Here are the foods you should be eating. Here's what you should not be eating. Here's how you should be giving charity. Very practical already. So these are very practical things you can apply in your day-to-day life, right? In terms of okay, I've got some money. How is it that I can make sure that I'm actually doing charity in the right way? All right. So we've already covered this, right? We covered yes, charity. We already covered. Um, okay. So what is the best charity? As we just discussed, using all the resources we have to serve the Lord, to further Prabhupada's movement. So Srila Prabhupada writes in Krishna book, the Lord is the bestower of all benedictions. If someone gives something to the Lord, he's not the loser, he's the gainer by a million times. So what a great deal this is, right? Where I'm giving something in charity, but I'm getting it back multiplied by a million times. What a great deal this is. It's like it's not even charity at this point, it's a return on my huge investment. It's like an investment mechanism that you put in $1 and you're going to get back $1,000,000 because that is what giving charity to Krishna or his representative does to you. What a great deal. And that is the best charity. In fact, Prabhupada often says that, Krishna does not see what is it you give him. Krishna sees what is it you did not give him. Right? So if you're earning 100 rupees and then you're like, actually, I'm going to keep 50 of this for Krishna. He really appreciates that 50 rupees. But if you're earning 1,000,000 rupees, then you're like, I'm going to keep these 500 rupees for Krishna. Krishna is like, what? No, there's all so much stuff that you're sitting on. So he does not pay attention to what you give him. He pays attention to what is it you're keeping with yourself because that is your enjoyment. That is your own enjoying propensity. Right? That is you wanting to enjoy that stuff. So he looks at what is it that you're looking to enjoy. All right. So now we're going to move on to the last section, and that is all activities with faith in Krishna. So far, Krishna has explained all the different activities. Now, the problem with all of these activities is that they are all defective. Why? Why are they defective? Even the ones in goodness? Because they bind us to. Why are they defective? What is the defect in eating sattvic foods, giving charity, going to temple regularly out of duty? What is the defect? Yes, Bhavya?
It binds us into the.
Yes, that we're still bound in the cycle of birth and death. So
Right.
remember, we cited this in the 3rd chapter that whatever actions you do, be it pious activities or impious activities, they're all generating a karma, an action. And for every action, there's going to be a reaction. And as long as we have a bank account of actions or a bank account of reactions, we have to take another body to suffer those reactions. right? Which means that we will keep coming and churning and churning and churning and churning. Sometimes they say that in the prison you have to do mitti piecing and piecing and piecing and piecing, right? So you have to keep doing this in the cycle of birth and death. Keep coming and coming and coming and coming and coming. Why? Because every time you take birth again, then you do some actions, then you have to bear reaction, then you take another birth, and then you just keep circling in this spiral of birth and death forever. And so, what is the way to exit? What is the way to get rid of these defects? And even in the mode of goodness, those are still actions. Remember, we were talking about how even food, sattvic food, still is implicating us in sinful reactions. So, what is the way to get rid of these defects? Devotional service. How is it you do devotional service? By dedicating every single thing to the Supreme Lord. Right? By Supreme Lord Krishna. Yes. Can someone read this verse? Who wants to read this verse? Radhika. Is she there? Radhika, can you read this verse?
Yes, Mataji. Om Tat Sat Iti Nirdesho Brahmanastrividha Smrita Brahmanas Vedascha Yajnascha Vihita Pura. From the beginning of creation, the three words Om Tat Sat were used to indicate the supreme absolute. These three symbolic representations were used by Brahmanas while chanting the hymns of Vedas and during sacrifices for the satisfaction of the Supreme.
Yes. So Om Tat Sat. This mantra is a representation of the Supreme Lord. All right. So in this verse, Krishna is telling us as to how, from the very beginning of creation, this mantra Om Tat Sat is used to represent the Supreme Lord. That is why anytime they would do a fire sacrifice, anytime they would do any activity, they would usually start it with Om, or they would start it with Om Tat Sat to say that we're doing it for the pleasure or on behalf of the Supreme Lord, right? So in some sense, you're Krishnizing every single thing that you're doing by saying this mantra. That is why when people get initiated, when we do the fire sacrifice, they say Om Tat Sat, right? Where you're saying, now I'm offering this to the Supreme Lord for His pleasure. Right. So okay. So Om Tat Sat. What do these three words mean? Om represents Vishnu, the Supreme Lord. Tat represents detachment from this material entanglement. And Sat represents that whatever it is that I'm doing, this activity is dedicated for the Lord's pleasure. Okay? All right. So can someone read this verse? Who wants to read?
Mataji, can I read, Mataji?
Yes, Samar, go ahead.
Asradaya Sutam Dattam Tapas Taptam Svitam Chayat Asad Itchate Partha Nachat Tat Pretyano Eha. Activities without faith in Supreme Lord. Anything done as a sacrifice, charity, or penance without faith in the Supreme Ocean of Prita is impermanent. It's called as a set and is useless both in this life and in the next.
What is the takeaway? What did you understand from this?
Mataji, all I understood was that he's telling that to Arjuna that it's if we do suppose in this life, suppose in previous life, that time we are doing some charity. Like we have so much golden money and we want to give for free. So then we go and open a small tent house and start giving. And then one man will come there and we'll give him the charity. Then Mataji, but if we don't have faith in Krishna, then we will not. If we don't have faith next to on Krishna, then we won't give a photo. Then we won't what? Then we won't get any use. It's no use.
Yes, basically what he's saying is that anything that you're doing where you're not dedicating it to me, where you're not doing it for my pleasure, you're not doing it as a service to me, it's basically useless. Why is it useless? Because it's temporary, right? Why are you wasting your time on temporary things anyway? So he's saying, but if you're doing it for my pleasure, then it can grant you permanent benefit, obviously, which is ultimately liberation, reassociation with Krishna. But everything else that you're doing is useless. So, what is core here? The most important element then is this thing, faith in the Supreme, right? Faith in the Supreme when we are doing our activities. So, remember, we studied it, I think we studied in the 6th chapter, was it? Or the 9th chapter. We studied in the 9th chapter as to what the prerequisites of receiving knowledge are. It was non enviousness and faith. And what did we say? How was faith built? How is it? If Krishna is saying that the most important element is to have faith in the Supreme Lord as you're doing your activities, then how is it that you build this faith? How you strengthen this faith? We just covered it in the beginning of the class. How is it you strengthen your faith? Say out loud, Sampriti.
Devotee association.
Devotee association, very good. Devotee association. So, real faith is complete conviction that simply by serving Krishna, one can attain all perfection. And this faith is obtained in the association of devotees, sadhu sangha. All right. And with that, we finish our 17th chapter. You're 2 minutes over time, but anyone has any questions, any comments, anything they want to cover?
Mataji, I have a question.
Yes.
So see that if you worship the demigods, and then the demigods they will take you to demigods abode, right, Mataji?
Yes.
But then today when in the temple during the class some Sri Sampradaya devotees came. Then I was hearing, and then he said that that demigod worship, if you are not, suppose he was telling about Ganesha, that Ganesha is I was just climbing up the staircase that time, and then I was hearing that he was telling that the that Ganesha is you can worship Ganesha. There is nothing wrong, because if you have to do your devotional service without any without any disturbance, you have to pray to Ganesha to do what?
To do what?
No obstacle. So then.
So what is your question?
So Mataji, then Rupa Goswami also Rupa Goswami said that Rupa Goswami said that we have to worship Ganesha, and then before even the Narayanam Namaskritya, Mataji, I was also thinking that he tell on to Mata Saraswati. Then
very good. Yes, very good.
Why Mata Saraswati? Like, why did he say Saraswati? Couldn't he have said like because yeah, that's a question.
What is the question though?
Why in the verse of Narayana Namaskritya and Rupa Goswami, why did they say that can do Ganesha Puja and
yeah? So actually, Rupa Goswami ji says that we should start with worshipping Ganesha, and which is true. I mean, Ganesha and Mother Saraswati, they're all devotees of the Lord, right? These demigods are devotees of the Lord. So you can pray to Ganesha to remove obstacles. But then Prabhupada taught us. Prabhupada told us you are not going to do any demigod worship. Why? Because and Prabhu was covering it in the class the other day, right? It'll start with Ganesha and then Saraswati, and then slowly there'll be so many demigods in the altar that Krishna somewhere will get hidden amongst all of these 30 million demigods, right? And see, what often happens is it's very easy. So even though, again, what I was saying, sometimes we get so involved in the action, we forget the intention behind why we started that action, right? Which means that if we get, in this case, we know very clearly that the reason we are praying to the demigods is so they can help us get closer to Krishna, because they're devotees of the Lord themselves. But he knows very well that we are so stupid that we'll actually forget this goal over time, and we'll just start praying to the demigods to remove obstacles in our material life. We'll start praying to Ganesha to remove obstacles in our material life, which is what people do, right? Or we'll start praying to Saraswati to make sure that we are doing very well in our material life and material knowledge in Jada Vidya. Or we'll start praying to Shivji to make sure today Bandana. Okay, Samat, focus on the class. Samat is sending me private messages. Today is Nandu Anna's birthday, for those of you who know. So Samat was messaging me on the side to say, Mataji, today Nandu Anna's birthday, right? So the reason Prabhupada said we should not be doing demigod worship is because he does not want us to get distracted because we are stupid. Right? Because he's like, you'll start off with being like, Ganesha, please remove the obstacles for my devotional service. And 2 years later, you'll be saying, Ganesha, please remove obstacles for my business. And I don't want that. And to your point, which was Bhavya's point originally, right? Which was, Mataji, even if we have material desires, is it better if we pray to Krishna? Yes. So Prabhupada is saying, you just pray to Krishna. You just hold on to him. Over time, he'll make sure that, you gradually purify yourself and you come on the path of bhakti. And that's what Prabhupada was saying the other day. That's why Prabhupada gave us Narsimhadev instead of Ganesha. He said, you want to remove obstacles, you pray to Narsimhadev. Okay, which is an avatar of, which is a Dashavatara.
Prabhupada gave us elevator. We are so stubborn that we want to go by stairs only.
We don't have faith in the elevator, na Mataji. We're like, what if the elevator breaks down in the middle? Stairs safe.
So even when we are going to Ganesha, we should not be actually disrespecting them. They are also demigods. They are also Vaishnavas, right? They are also. So what we have to do is Yat Pada Pallava Yugam Vinihidaya Kumbha. Remember your Brahma Samhita verse where Lord Ganesha takes all this power from Lord Krishna to remove the obstacles. He doesn't have his own power to remove obstacles. Actually, Krishna gives this power to him. So remember that the ultimate source is Krishna.
Then I thought that Narsimhadev also Prabhupada introduced Narsimhadev worship to remove obstacles, right?
Yeah.
Then that's what Prabhu was telling. Then that
Yes.
Prabhu, he's not removing obstacle. He's what? He does not remove obstacles. He gives protection.
Narsimhadev removes obstacles also. Remember, that's why Prahlad Maharaj prays, right? That remove all of these demon-like desires from my heart. So he's removing all those material obstacles on my path of devotional service.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
No.
All right. Okay, I know we're 8 minutes over time.
Mataji,
Yes,
I
Bhavya.
just have one small question. Why
Yes.
I asked you this question that Mataji, when somebody has material desires, they should go to Lord, and that is considered to be a mode of goodness, right?
Mode of passion, Bhavya.
Okay, so
If you're
that is
doing it for
also
any material
passion,
desires, that is also passion. Yes.
even if
That's
going to the Lord for it.
yes, and that's the example of Dhruv Maharaj, right?
Oh, that was my question. Okay, fine.
Yes, that
Now I
was
got it.
Dhruv Maharaj's example, right? If you're anything that you're doing for material rewards, it is in mode of passion.
Does not matter who you pray to.
Yes, does not matter. If it is for
Okay.
material rewards, it is in the mode of passion. Now, if you're doing it for pure devotional service, then that's pure goodness.
Okay, got it.
All right. Thank you so much. Always wonderful to see you all. Sorry we were on a break last week, but we are back with a bang. And now next week we're going to be moving on to the last chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the 18th chapter, which is both good and scary for you all. Good because it's the last chapter, scary because what follows after that is an exam, which means you all need to start preparing. Vishnu Priya Mataji, anything you want to add?
No, I'm so happy today for the class. Although the strength was a little less initially, then picked up in the middle. There are a lot of questions and then discussions coming from you. That is more important. Rishita Mata, Cholai Mata, this chapter is very small. 1 hour is enough actually. The remaining must be like we wanted to give you back the time, but looks like we over and again. That's because of a lot of discussion we had. It is a two-way conversation. It's more interesting and more we feel like, we wanted to do more for you also. It's very happy about.
Oh no, Madhuri's connection dropped, I think.
Yes.
She's in the temple all day today. So I came home for this afternoon class, but she's now preparing for the evening program. Today is Nandu's birthday, which is Mataji's son. That's why Nanda is not in class today, is it, Samar? Where's Nandu Anna?
Actually, he did a little bit the service. Then he study room. Then Amma told me to bring Nandu Anna home and make him attend class. If Nandu Anna sleep here, she told let him sleep here. Then I called Nandu Anna, he is sleeping like that. And then Nandu Anna moved like that. All is very wet because he's very sweaty. He's very hot. Nandu Anna is
So
very
Nandu Anna's been there since breakfast, since Mangal Aarti. No, it's not breakfast, Mangal Aarti. He was there for Tulasi Aarti also.
Then me and Vishnu stay in the temple. Then once me and Vishnu woke up, and then we saw Nandu Anna enter the temple. So Nandu Anna never stayed in the temple yesterday.
Yes, but he attended Mangal Aarti.
At 4 o'clock.
Okay.
I'm missing staying in temple.
Hopefully you can come here very soon, Avigyan. Then you can stay in the temple. Don't worry, these boys don't do anything productive. They just make a ruckus. They just fight and they just play. So you're not missing much.
Mataji, Avigyan came the last time Avigyan stayed here. He and Vishnu slept on the straw mat, and I nicely slept on a nice soft mat.
And Mataji was sleeping on a yoga mat. We woke up at 1:30 and then we were waking up someone, then he was still snoring.
Okay.
I was not snoring. I was sleeping.
Okay. Please take care of these things. Please take care of these things outside of the YouTube live video. Always wonderful seeing you all. And please keep revising what we're covering, right? So, because the test is going to come soon. All right?
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Shri